السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Inshallah, you're in good health and Iman, you and your families. وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته. As the life states, out of sight, out of mind. Out of sight, out of mind. Just a second. Okay, so I thought about these individuals. I thought about these people, the ones that are, very corrupt, behind a lot of corruption in the world. And one thing I realized is one of the most powerful things they have is anonymity. Anonymity is one of the most powerful things that they have. You don't know them, you don't know their names, you don't know where they're from, you don't know their faces, you haven't seen them before. And it is this thing, which is out of sight, out of mind, which they actualize to almost the highest level. Almost to the highest level, where you actually do not know. Even though you have access to the internet and you can do whatever you want to do, you don't know. You do not know. And they probably don't make the effort to be known at all. And the benefit of this is that if things do go wrong, you can't really be blamed because you're not known. Everything falls apart. You're out of sight, out of mind. And that's one of the powers of anonymity. The powers of anonymity is that if you know how to blend in and you're not known whatsoever, you are in a state of power. You are in a state of power. And it is this that someone asked about, and they said, I live in the UK, and where I live, it's a very non-Muslim area, and nearby areas are the same, and I have to leave the house, and they're a sister, and they feel scared to leave the house. People have gone mad with stuff they're doing, so people are afraid because of what's going on. But sometimes the best offense is defense, as they say. And the defense of anonymity is one of the greatest powers that these people have. And especially when you're a minority. When you're a minority and you're extremely weak and you don't have power and you don't have authority, the best thing you can do is have anonymity. Remain as anonymous as possible. Remain in your houses. Don't go out as much. If you do go out as much, keep away from where the masses go to. Keep away from the routes that the masses take. Keep away from being out at the times when they are out. Try and minimize to the best of your ability. If you do that, then there's a less chance of you being attacked or facing danger. But it is very powerful. Out of sight, out of mind. Everything goes wrong. You're not to blame. And the people don't know. They don't know. So this is my advice to you guys. Try to be as anonymous as you can. Keep to yourselves. Be very cautious of the masses because they are very, very emotional. There are very, very emotional people. And you shouldn't really be afraid of the people themselves, because when you look at the collective masses, yes, they can do damage, but then you need to understand their mindset is like one of a child. They're emotional beings, emotional people, and they run on the fuel of emotions, which is sad, but that's the reality. That's why it's very easy to manipulate them. It's very easy to manipulate their emotions. It's very easy to use them against themselves. That is why you shouldn't be afraid, because they are, at the end of the day, children. Whether they have big beards, whether they have, whether they're old, they have grey hair, it doesn't matter, they're still children. That's the reality, they're still children. They haven't reached the level of understanding where I should control my emotions, I should see the consequences of my actions, and that's that. That's why Umar ibn Abdul Aziz, he stated, and he was one of the leaders of the Muslims in the early generations. He stated, if you see a person increasing in their silence and they're keeping in their houses, then basically know that person has some sort of wisdom and learn from that person. Why? Because when you see there's so much fitna and there's so much corruption and there's so much, destruction in the outside world, the best thing you can do is remain in your houses. Best thing you can do is remain in your houses and have long silence. Have a long silence. Have long periods of silence where you're able to think, you're able to understand, you're able to focus, you're able to have a thought. Silence is very, very powerful within itself. Which is ironic because someone said, I advise you to read Kitab al-Samt by Ibn Abi Dunya. The reason why they told me to read that book, which is called the Book of Silence, they just said read the book, but I know why they told me to read the book, because they tried to say you talk too much, and I advise you to read the book of silence, trying to indirect me saying you're talking too much, just keep silent, which is somewhat ironic and it is funny at the same time. Silence is very powerful. It is very powerful. It allows you to have clear thought, and these people clearly haven't mastered the art of silence, because when a person masters the art of silence, they somewhat have control over their emotions. These people don't. When someone asks you a question, people feel forced to give an answer straight away. They don't take the time to think. They don't comprehend. Should I even answer the question or not? And that's the reality with most of these people. They haven't mastered the arts of silence. They don't think. They don't focus. Can't comprehend. Tension is finished. They're bored. The one who masters the art of silence is not as bored as the one who gets bored when nothing is said for 5-10 minutes. So don't be afraid of the people. The reality is people should be ashamed. The people should be ashamed of themselves. They should be ashamed of themselves. They should be looked down upon. They should be turned away from. They should understand that what they're in is ignorance. It's grave ignorance. Grave ignorance. So don't be afraid of the people. All of these things that are going on, It's already been planned. It's very easy to orchestrate something that's going on like this. So easy. And I told you, I did this live a long time ago. And I drew an image. And in the little corner, you push someone to the corner. And then you only have one little gap that's open for them. The reality is most of the people will take that one little gap. That's what they do. They take the bait. They're like fishes. You just throw the hook in. It has the little bait at the end. Then the fishes just come. And then what do? You reel them in. You reel them in like fishes. And then they're finished. They're finished. And that's the state of a lot of the people. Either like rats or like fishes. So don't be afraid of them. Just make dua for yourself, for your own protection, for your own safety. And know that nothing will afflict you except that it was already written for you. And that is it. And this is the mindsets of the believer. The believer sees goodness in hardship just like how he sees goodness in ease. In today's day and age, in the 21st century Gregorian calendar, they tell you that hardship should be looked down upon, that difficulty should be turned away from. If you're sick, the first thing you have to do is run to medicines and try to cure yourself of that sickness. They tell you that difficulty should be turned away from, it's failure. Success is having ease and comfort. And the mindsets of many people around the world is ease, comfort, relaxation. That is it. As for difficulty and hardship, it's just neglected. It's turned away from. And that's why so many people are like children when it comes to difficulty and hardship, because they don't understand and they don't know how to react like adults. They do not. And because we've neglected difficulty and hardship, we don't know how to act when it comes to us. We get overly emotional. We become erratic in our behavior. We jump up and down. And the enemy loves that even more. They love it. They love it. Because in the heat of the moment, when you're all over the place, and I'm not in the heat of the moment, and I'm not all over the place, and I know what I want, and I know what I'm going to get, and you're all over the place and you don't know what's going on, and I can see you're all over the place, what can I do? I can strike it where you least expect it. And you did not even see it coming. You did not see it coming. So, difficulty and hardship shouldn't be turned away. We need to divert the attention of the people away from ease and comfort and direct them towards difficulty and hardship so that they can learn, so that they can become accustomed to it, so that they can take lessons from it. Difficulty and hardship is good. It's good. Everything for the believer is good. If someone attacks you, do not think, firstly, you will not gain retribution. You will. That's the first thing. You will always, the believer will always have retribution. Ultimately, finally, always. That's the first thing. Second thing, he will be purified of his evil and his sin. Would you rather get punched in the face in the worldly life, or would you rather be punished in the grave? The punishment of the grave is far more severe. I would rather the people punch me every single day than for me to be punished in the grave. And the punishment in the fire to purify the Muslim is far more severe than the punishment of the grave, and it is far more severe than the punishment in the worldly life. So, for you to be purified of your sins, and you are not going to be punished in the grave, rather you will be punished in the worldly life, that is a form of blessing that you should be grateful for, because it's an opportunity. You see, the people don't see difficulty as an opportunity. They see it as a failure, as something to turn away from, and something to look down upon, even though it's an opportunity. If you are patient, and you are wise in your dealings, and you seek purification, and you seek a reward, you will be rewarded. You will be purified. And you need to understand, patience in the worldly life is far more easier than patience in the grave. And it's far. There is no delight in the worldly life that is comparable to the delights of paradise. There is no patience in the worldly life that's comparable to the patience in the fire. And even in the fire, you can be as patient as you like. It will never aid you in the least. Your patience will be of no benefit to you in the fire whatsoever. So you would rather be patient in the worldly life temporarily than for you to try be patient for eternity in the fire when it's not really going to do you much or do you anything at all in reality. So understand the metrics. Punishment in the grave is far more severe than the punishment in the worldly life. Punishment in the hereafter, in the fire, is far more severe than the worldly life. So if the people strike you, then the people have struck you. And many people before you have been struck. You're not the first one to be struck. Prophets were killed who are more noble than you, more honorable than you, more closer to Allah than you can ever be, that were chosen by Allah specifically, and they were killed. So if they were killed, and killing is like the end. Killing is the end. I think I showed you the chart before of pain. Killing is the end. That is it. When you're killed, you're out of the worldly life. That's it. You're not coming back. So understand that difficulty, hardship is good. It's a form of purification. It's a form of increasing you in your level and your station and your understanding and your mindset and your capability, because the harder the trial and the test, the greater the patience, the greater the patience, the greater the strength, the greater the reward, the greater the understanding. Hence why the prophets were the ones who were tested the most. And they have the greatest patience from the people, and they have the greatest understanding amongst the people, and they have the greatest level and station amongst the people. Hopefully that is clear. So view difficulty and hardship in a good lens. Someone strikes you, they struck you. That is it. That is it. Doesn't mean you don't take caution and you just run like a headless chicken into the center of destruction. But if you take the means, the necessary means to protect yourself, and you are still struck, then it is something that is written for you. There is no escape for what has been written for you. There is no escape. You can go to the top of the mountain, you can hide beneath the ground as much as you want. You can't escape it. You cannot escape it. And this is why the believer is in constant delight, because when difficulty and hardship comes to him, he sees it as an opportunity, he's happy for it. And when ease and comfort comes to him, he's grateful for it and he's happy for it. So in all states, in all conditions, he is happy. You know, this is the thing that the disbelievers are in. And it's what makes me laugh sometimes. They say that death, the Muslims always care about death. The Muslims always care about death. The Muslims care about death and we care about life. They just want to die. We care about the worldly life. Yeah. What they don't understand is that the Muslim, not only does he care about death, he does care about the worldly life. He asks Allah for good in the worldly life. That good can be good rizq, it could be good health, it could be good family, it could be good community, it could be good understanding, good knowledge. He asks Allah for good in the worldly life. He's grateful for it. And he asks Allah for good concerning death, and he's happy for that. And he asks Allah for good in the hereafter, and he's happy for that. And this is what the disbelievers don't seem to understand, that the Muslim is in content and delight in every single state. That's why they're afraid of death. We need to run away from death. How can we extend our life? You can't. Your life will only be as much as Allah has decreed for your life to be. Take anything, eat anything, drink anything. Nothing surpasses the decree of Allah. But that's the case of the believer. He's happy in all states. Don't be deceived and don't be fooled by that. Don't be deceived and don't be fooled by that. And this is one of the greatest blessings, I would say, for us as Muslims, because we can seek a reward when we're ill. When the child dies, you seek a reward. When you're sick, you seek a reward. When you're attacked, you seek a reward. When you're harmed, you seek a reward. When even just a little thorn that you step on that pricks your feet and the pain that you feel, you seek a reward. And that is one of the greatest blessings. So see difficulty as an opportunity, because you will see not everyone goes through difficulty. You need to understand that. Many people in life, they go through ease and comfort. And when they go through ease and comfort, you need to understand that difficulty is an opportunity because they haven't gone through that hardship. And because they haven't gone through that hardship, they may not understand, number one. They may not know how to comprehend, and they may not know how to act. So now you have been given the opportunity to experience this difficulty so that you can take it on your shoulder and you can understand it in a level that others do not understand it. So what do? You're patient, you take the lessons that you need to learn from it, you move forward. But if you turn away and you're ungrateful and you blame others, you blame everything, you're just ungrateful, you're all negative about it, what's going to happen? You fail that opportunity. And then remember, it wasn't given to everyone, because many people may never experience that difficulty ever. But you were given it. And that's an opportunity. And you failed that opportunity. And that is a level of ungratefulness for which you will be questioned about. Because remember, other people weren't given it. I'll give you an example. If you were given ease and delight that other people are not, will you not be questioned if you're ungrateful for it? If you were to be able to eat food every single day, and there are people that are dying because they don't have food to eat, and you're ungrateful for the food that you're eating whilst other people are dying, will you not be questioned for it? Likewise, with difficulty, we reverse the roles. Difficulty, there are other people that don't experience hunger. And because they don't experience hunger, they don't understand, they don't have that clear mind, they don't have that strength internally, they don't have that strength over their desires as the people who are in ease and comfort. And so if they're not grateful for that, they will be questioned as well. Because all things are good for the believers, all of it. The difficulty part and the easy part, it's all good for the believer. That's why the Prophet, in times of ease, he would say Alhamdulillah, and in times of difficulty, he would say Alhamdulillah. So, don't be afraid of the people. Don't engage yourself with the masses in reality. And keep to your house. Be as silent as you can. Silence is a very, very good thing. I've spoken about silence a long time ago. Probably did a live on it. But it is very good. Because when you're silent, you have time to think. And people, they are tormented by their own thoughts. Crazy. It's crazy. You should be comforted by your own thoughts. You should be in control with your own thoughts, but the people are tormented by their own thoughts. They hate thinking. It's crazy, I know. Some people hate thinking. If you hate thinking, I can promise you there are people that love to think. And those people that love to think will one day may want to control you. And the reality is, if you don't love to think, you hate to think, others will love to think for you, and they will control you. Because when you control the way a person thinks, you control them. You don't have to put your hands and move their hands for them. They will move their hands themselves for you. That's the reality. Many people don't like to think. That's why I say, if worldwide
full scale slavery was to return, a lot of people would be enslaved. Because remember, many people, they have the mindset they would rather be looked after than look after themselves. We would rather be looked after than rather look after ourselves. We'd rather let some other people look after us than for us to look after ourselves. Okay, then that's basically slavery. You'd rather the master look after you than you look after yourself. So if slavery was to return, yeah, I mean, not like it left anyways, but a lot of people would be slaves. A lot. So take it easy. In terms of fitna, what do? You keep to your house. Keep to your house. Keep as silent as you can. Speak as much good as you can. Make your adhkar. Make your ad'iyah. Seek protection from Allah. And you've taken the steps that you can. That is it. You're not burdened by changing everything at once. You don't have the power to in reality. We don't have the power to change everything at once. That's the reality. Everything will be as Allah has decreed for it to be. Allah has informed us that there will be days that alternate. So some days will be for the disbelievers and some days it will be for the believers. Right now it's for the disbelievers. No doubt. There is no doubt. Right now it's for the disbelievers. They're the ones behind finances. They're the ones behind governments and systems. They're the ones behind all these technological things, spyware, all of it. They're behind all of this. As for the believers, then they are as few can be. They are as rare can be. They are as strange can be. And they're silent. Very silent. Extremely silent. The silence is almost deafening. Almost deafening. Because when you look at the side, if you look at the side of the believers, practically nothing has been built. Practically nothing has been built from the side of the believers. Nothing. And we all talk, but we haven't built anything. We'll give lesson after lesson after lesson after lesson, and nothing's been built. When in reality, knowledge pushes you to act. Knowledge pushes you to build. Because if you're not building, if you're not acting, then that knowledge is proof against you. إِنَّا سَنُلْقِي عَلَيْكَ قَوْلًا ثَقِيلًا. Indeed, we will surely send upon you a heavy statement. And those that, the Mufassirun, they said, قَوْلًا ثَقِيلًا means acting upon the Quran. Acting upon the Quran is heavy. It is. And that's why the Salaf, they would say, they don't know a man that is better than the one who acts upon the Quran. The one who memorizes the Quran and acts upon it, they don't know anyone better than him. They don't. So, we've left the buildings to the disbelievers. They've built the systems for us. They've built the clothing for us. They've built whatever you can think of for us. They've built the medical system for us. They've built the technological system for us. They've built, laws for us. They've built practically everything for us. That is it. That is it. And you will find some people saying, go out and say, I'm Salafi and proud. Imagine building nothing and you say, I'm Salafi and proud. Crazy, isn't it? It's crazy, wallah. So, may Allah allow us to build. May Allah allow us to act upon knowledge. Because if knowledge is not acted upon, it's proof against you on the Day of Judgment. That's the reality. You knew this. That's why Abu Darda is reported to have said, what I fear on the day of judgment is that it will be said to me on the day of judgment, you knew, so how did you act upon what you knew? Let me find the exact narration. So here it is. عن أبي الدرداء رضي الله تعالى عنه قال إنما أخشى على نفسي أن يقال لي على رؤوس الخلائق يا عويمر هل علمت فأقول نعم فيقال ماذا علمت فيما علمت. Indeed, I fear على نفسي upon myself that it will be said to me amongst the heads of the creations, Ya Uwaymir, O Uwaymir, which was his name, Hal alimt, did you learn, did you know? فأقول نعم, and I will say yes. فيقال, then it will be said, ماذا عملت فيما علمت? What have you acted upon concerning what you knew? What have you acted upon concerning what you knew? And there's another one. قد علمت فما عملت فيما علمت. قد علمت, you have surely known. فما عملت فيما علمت. So what have you acted upon concerning what you knew? Wallahu musta'an. And the Quran is heavy. The Quran is heavy. It's heavy. You can't tell me you've memorized the Quran and you built absolutely nothing except just talking. You've done absolutely nothing in the world except talking. And maybe you wrote a few things here and there, but you've built absolutely nothing. It's crazy. And that's what the disbelievers love. They love it. They love when people read the Quran. They just read it. Beautiful voices. Oh, did you hear that recitation? Oh, it made my goosebumps. It made the hair just come up. Wow, man. Did you hear his recitation? Oh, that one made me cry. It just made a tear come out of my eye. It made a tear come out of my eye. But tears don't come out when no one's building anything. Crazy, isn't it? Crazy, isn't it? Yes. That's why the disbelievers love those people that make Islam something that is just by word. That is it. It's not by action. It's just by word. That is it. It's just by word. They love that because they see the field of action to be empty and it's only for them to prosper. Even though everything that they use in the worldly life, it's not for them in reality. It's for those that are the believers. Allah created this for us in reality. If you look at their clothes and the clothes that they make, where do they get the material from? It's from the earth, it's for us. If you look at the technological tools that they use, where do they get these materials from? It's from the earth, that's for us. The food that is grown from the ground is for us. They just take everything as if it's theirs. But then again, we can take everything as well from the root and we can build something upon it as well. The world is not just for them, it's for us as well. So I know a group of people that memorize qira'at and riwayat and that's it. They are held in very high statuses in their society. You see, that's the thing. Everyone is good at being led, but no one's really good at leading. That's the thing. Everyone wants to be led. That's the slave mentality I told you about. No one likes to think. Everyone wants to be someone to think for them, which is crazy within itself. A good point in taking action, starting, is within yourself. That's the first thing. Because you being of benefit to others when you're of no benefit to yourself is useless. What is it? You're like a bridge that breaks apart, or you're like a candle that burns itself. That's the first point. You have to do everything that you do in reality for your own good, for your own self. So you start with yourself, that's the first thing. Then you move over to your family. Then you move slowly on and on and on with others. You have to also be aware of your surroundings. You have to be aware of your household. You have to be aware of what's going on. You need to be, you see, there's a lot of things. There's a lot of things that need to be done. You need to be aware of the community and what's happening to the people and what's the state of the people. Are they hungry? Are they being fed? Like if you look at the masajid as well, you'll rarely find a masjid that is pure, sound. That's a good place to start with. Everyone's just asking for money, but they're not really building much. They're asking for money and they're not doing much. They just keep asking for money and the money's not going anywhere. So we're talking about all of these things on a smaller scale. Imagine the entire world. So there's a lot. You need to have a masajid. You need to be away from the government. If we were to build something, you have to build something that is disconnected to the government, to the best of your ability. You have to be disconnected to the government to the best of your ability. You need to have your own systems in place, which aren't the systems of the government that you take from. Many people you'll find they're just pleased with being fed by the government. In the UK, just give me benefits. That is it. Just give me benefits. Oh, we'll give you benefits. Definitely we'll give you benefits. But you just need to understand there's, it's not just a give and give. There's a give and take. We need to take something as well. And what are we taking? That's a good question. What are we taking? People are happy with that. People are happy with that. There has to be different systems. There has to be a food system. There has to be a water system. There has to be a land system. There has to be a law system. There has to be many systems that the people and the community live in. And it has to be outside of the government. Because the moment it's outside of the government, when it's outside of the government, what's going to happen? It's outside of the plot and the agendas of the government. I'll give you an example. Planned famines. Planned famines happen. Why? Because the trading routes, the large farmers, the large companies are all controlled, are all owned. The trading routes is owned. So they will control all these aspects, and then they can create something which is a man-made famine, and everyone, and a large majority of the people are going to be affected by that large man-made famine. Why? Because the people haven't built anything for them, and they said, government, we rely upon you. And because we said to the government, we rely upon you, they said, okay, we're going to destroy you, and we're going to kill you, we're going to starve you as well. Surely you shouldn't have trusted us. But you have trusted us. So that's what happens. But when you're away from the system, they can't really do much like that. They can't. They can't. You know, they can't do that, they can't do this, they can't do that. Of course, there's dangers that they can do. But then again, can you even own lands? We like, our forefathers have slept so much, like they went into such a deep sleep. Our forefathers went into such a deep sleep. Can we even own land? What happened to land ownership? Where did that disappear? Because apparently you can buy land, but you still have to pay tax. So do you still own that land? What happens if you stop paying tax? Oh, that land is taken away from you. Oh, that makes sense. So you never owned that land then, right? Yes, you never owned that land. Okay. Interesting. Very, very, very interesting. So there's no land ownership. There's no land ownership. The government can come to your land that you supposedly purchased with fake money, and they can come in and say, that's my land, and you can't do anything about it. You can't do anything about it. So that's why you think the government would like for you to spread extremism. And that is it, but inaction isn't going to be of any benefit to anyone from the Muslims in reality. Inaction is not going to be of any benefit to the Muslims whatsoever. They will just keep getting dug in a deep hole, deep hole, deep hole. And I guess the Prophet, and I don't guess, I know with certainty the Prophet spoke the truth when he said that no year will come except the one after will be more severe. Each year you just say, wow, I didn't even know that could happen. I didn't even know, I couldn't even fathom about this. I couldn't even think about this, and it just happens. The way people act, the way people are, the way the systems are, the way things are running, the way it's so dumb on a surface level, but it's so smart, so intricate in a deep level. It's crazy. It's so simple yet complex at the same time. The people are so asleep, but they make it out to seem like they're so awoken at the same time. It's crazy. You know, all these divergences coming together, mixing with one another, truly makes sense. How each year is going to be far more severe than the year before. Oh, did you hear this person now? Like, imagine we live in an era where they say there's something called gay imam. Have you ever contemplated an era? Do you not think the Qawm Lut would have loved this? Do you not think the people of Lut would have loved this? We are living in a time when not only do they have an entire month that they are celebrated, they have flags that are put in major buildings around the world. They have flags that are put in major buildings around the world. They are pushed towards the world. They are given laws and legal laws to be looked after, to do whatever they want in reality. And then people are coming out and saying gay imam. Like, do you not know how mental that is? Do you not know how mental that is? Can you imagine living in a time when there's something called gay imam? And you live in a time when the people are so foolish and they will say Islam is compatible with liberal ideas such as you can have any sexuality, you can do whatever you want, you can be whatever you want. Oh yeah, they thems, you can be a they them. Like, imagine the stupidity, the foolishness, how mental people have become, that they can even dare to ascribe Islam with this. Why are they so comfortable? Because the believers don't have strength. That's why they're comfortable. When you are severe and you are harsh and you show them your true face, they then get scared. But when you're silent and you're shh and you're hiding, that is the consequence. And then this is what occurs though. The more fitna there is, the more you're advised to stay in your houses. Because it's a big wave, it's a big wave, it's a big wave, it's a big wave. I'll speak about this topic, but someone just made a comment here. If a person speaks haqq, he will be jailed and tested. You know, I saw a video. I saw a video and someone was arrested in the UK. The police came to their house. I don't know if you guys seen that video. Some old guy, he's recording 2 police officers and they're like, yeah, we're arresting you because of a comment that you made on Facebook. And the guy said, did I commit a Facebook crime? He's like, did I commit a Facebook crime? And they arrested him. They arrested him, why? Because of a comment that he made on Facebook. So when it comes to people that are robbing, stealing shops, yeah, they can't do much. But when someone writes a comment, yeah, the police are there, the Gestapo are there, get ready. Hilarious. Funny. It's hilarious. Facebook crime. It was a hilarious video, man. It was a very, very funny video. He's like, oh, can I take my medicine pills with me? And they're like, yeah, what pills do you take? He's like, I take, I think it was like sleeping pills, and I take anxiety pills as well, and I might need an anxiety pill after this conversation. Yeah, Rob. Oh, so just imagine a time when people don't even know what a human is. They don't know what a man is. They don't know what a woman is. How can you be so dumb and stupid? You don't even know what your gender is. It's crazy. You don't know what your sex is. You don't know anything. You don't know any of that. You can go to the deepest, darkest forest that people have been living in isolation for maybe hundreds and thousands of years, and they will tell you that. And they think they're so advanced and so forward thinking, and they will look at you as if you're backwards. What they see forward is stripping yourself, running around naked, don't know what a man, woman is, don't know anything about anything. You can't think, anxiety, depression, injections, vaccines, jumping up and down, left, right, center, and that is it. That's what they see to be progression. And why is it pushed that this is progression? Because the people of truth aren't really speaking loud against it. They're not really speaking loud against this. They're not exposing these nonsensical things. They're being left alone, and when they're left alone, the people can't hear anything else. They just hear falsehood, and they think it's normal. Normal is very powerful. Normal is very, very powerful. If I was to normalize something for you, you don't know how powerful that is, because you're not going to give it any concern. I'll give an example. The water, the tap in the sink, you turn the water on, it's so normal. It's so normal, you have no concern over water whatsoever. Until I shut it off. And then the water doesn't come. Then it becomes of a great concern. But until then, you don't know. When something is normalized, you have no concern concerning it. Nothing. You just think, oh, it's just normal. Maybe you're going to be a little baby, and I'm going to take you to the mountaintops. And every single day, I'm going to kill something every single day. And you're going to witness me killing something every single day. And you're going to grow up, and you're going to think it's normal to kill. And then, I'm going to send you into a society, into a world. And you're going to go and kill 5, 10, 15 different people. And to you it's normal. You grow up. Killing is normal. Everyone's there screaming, shouting, oh, did you see that killing? How could he kill? That's severe. That's crazy, mad. Everyone's losing their minds because it's not normal for them to kill, right? But for him, who grew up like this, it's normal. He'll kill 5, 10, 15 people. Look at the Mexican sicarios, the what are they called? The hitmen. Oh, he's just there, he just sits comfortably. He says, I've got a wife and family, I've got a wife and children. I've killed around 1,000 people. He's sitting there like nothing's happened, okay? He's like, yeah, I need to go back to my wife and children. And he's killed 1,000 people. He's killed like 1,000 people, yeah. And he's like, yeah, I've got a wife, I've got children, you know, I've got a family to feed. I've got a family to feed. So how many people I just killed 1,000 people. It's more than 1,000, I just stopped counting after 1,000 people. I just stopped counting. So send that person into the city centre when there's so many people and tell him kill all of these people. He will just go do it. It's normal. No regret. In this worldly life, he will surely regret it in the hereafter, that's for sure. So, making something normal is powerful. It's powerful. I'll give you an example. If like I have a family member and I live with them and I push them towards evil and I normalize that evil for them, next thing you know, they will become evil and they will see it as normalized. I do it with my family. I act crazy with my family. I do evil with my family. I will of course do evil with everyone else. I will do it on social media. I will do it with my friends. It's normal. Why are you looking at me like it's weird? Is this not what you guys do with your family? So, silence, that was number one. Silence is number one. Normalization is number two. The power of normalization. You don't know how powerful that is, man. You don't know how powerful that is. Like, people commit evil and they will smile, and you say, how can a person smile whilst committing evil? It's normal. It's just like drinking a cup of tea. Normalization is very, very powerful. That's why when evil becomes normalized, evil was normalized during the time of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. It was normalized. It was normalized to worship idols. It was normal. It was the norm in the society was to worship idols. So when the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam came, and he came with al-Islam, and al-Islam was in direct confrontation and it was directly opposing this norm of the society, what happened? The people started calling him crazy. They started calling him a magician. And they started telling the people, guys, Muhammad is trying to take you away from the religion of your forefathers. Remember, that's what normalization is. My forefather used to do it. Our people used to do it. Our community used to do it. Our land used to do it. All of these people used to do it. The big generals used to do it. The big leaders used to do it. Everyone, how are you coming to me and telling me that I'm wrong when every single one of us were doing it? And that's the power of normalization. That is the power of normalization. The truth becomes falsehood. Evil becomes good. And when you try to advise them and warn them, they look at you as if you're calling them towards evil. So just understand how powerful normalization is. It's so powerful. It's so powerful. An example, when they say we're going to normalize relations with Israel, you need to understand what normalization means. Normalization is not just the first day, it's the consequence of that normalization. What is the consequence of that normalization? Is the consequence allowing them to live in your land? Is the consequence allowing them to deal in your land? Is the consequence allowing them to spread in your land? Is the consequence them allowing to spread corruption in your land? What is the normalization? We don't speak about normalization concerning the first day. We're talking about the long run. What is the long run? What is the long run? So normalization is one. Building is the other. There's a lot. But hopefully you keep these matters in your mind. And you need to understand these matters are the great matters. See, people aren't thinking about this. Ooh, have you memorized the متون طلب العلم? Have you memorized متون طلب العلم? Have you memorized أصول ثلاثة? Oh, have you memorized this? I memorized this, and I memorized that, and I memorized this. And you ask him, what have you built? What have you built, and what has your sheikh built for the community? Okay, maybe you haven't built anything, but have you warned against these systems? Have you spoken out against these systems? Have you spoken out against the corruption? Have you spoken out? If you can't build, the least you can do is speak, right? I mean, if you can't speak, then what? I guess hate it in your heart. And what did the Prophet say? وَذَلِكَ أَضْعَفُ الْإِيمَانِ. And that is the weakest form of Iman. What is the strongest form of Iman? It is to change something with your hand. And that's what building is. And that's action. And after action is what? It's the speech. To speak with your tongue. And after that is what? To hate it with your heart. وَذَلِكَ أَضْعَفُ الْإِيمَانِ. And that's the weakest form of Iman. The only power and the only strength that you have is to only hate it with your heart. There's nothing else you can do. You can't speak because you're afraid of the prisons, or you're afraid of your livelihood being cut and the finances being cut, and you're afraid of the nations and the people turning against you and insulting you and giving you names and labels and titles. You're afraid of the people, you're afraid of the circumstances and the normalization that you were living in every single day. I'm living in ease and comfort now. That normalization of ease and comfort is going to come to an end. Then it will turn into hardship and difficulty. So you have to add up all these images and all these pictures. When I add up all these things, guys, you need to understand. The reason why I'm not speaking out against these things is because I'm getting good rewards by benefiting the people. That is one of the biggest illusions and one of the biggest delusional statements that they make to comfort themselves and legitimize their silence. They legitimize their silence by saying, if I was to speak, then something could happen. Maybe I wouldn't be able to give lessons anymore. And if I'm not able to give lessons, then what's going to happen? The benefits are going to come to an end, guys. Really, I need to gather all these good deeds. I need to gather all these benefits from these lessons I'm given. Really, your lessons must be so useless that you don't even have the strength to speak. Crazy, isn't it? Your lessons must be so useless that you don't even have the strength to speak. So don't come to me and tell me I need to stay silent because I need to. No. All of this that you're supposedly benefiting to the people, all of this that you're supposedly teaching to the people, is it for the people to act upon it, or is it for the people to remain silent concerning it? What is it? Do you want everyone that you're supposedly teaching to be silent like you? Okay, then you're not really teaching, are you? You're wasting people's time. You're completely contradicting what it is that you're supposedly teaching. Guys, we're going to teach Sahih al-Bukhari today. Okay, Sahih al-Bukhari is completely against you. Guys, we're going to be going through the tafsir of Ibn Kathir. The tafsir of Ibn Kathir is against you. Guys, we're going to be going through Sahih Muslim. Sahih Muslim is against you. Guys, we're going to be teaching the books of the Salaf are against you. Guys, everything that you say is against you. You say one thing, but the reality is completely different. You say one thing, but the reality is very different. Yes, it's a religion of no action. It's a religion of silence and no action. And when you speak, what happens? Labels. When you speak, extremism. And what bigger extremism is there than to remain silent in the face of falsehood and to not warn the people? To not warn when you have knowledge. What do they call that? They call that a shaitan akhras. It's a mute devil. And that's what the Salaf said. The one who is silent in the face of falsehood, yes, is a mute devil. Just like the one who speaks falsehood, he's a what? He's a vocal devil. So there's the vocal devil and there's the mute one. Oh, you don't know what's in my heart. You don't know what's in my heart. The reality is, we could not care about what's in your heart. That's the reality. That's the reality. Oh, you don't know what's in my heart. Well, when the Salaf made that statement, they couldn't really care about the heart. If you're mute concerning falsehood, you're a mute devil. That's the reality. So, you see, there's a lot of complex things involved. It's very complicated in the sense that why would some of them be afraid to speak? Livelihood. It would be livelihood, it would be namings, it would be the removal of normalization of life, it would be a lower standing in the community because everyone's going to look down upon. It's all of these things that are jumbled together. It's like one big whirlwind. Yeah, one big whirlwind. And a large majority of the people, they say, you know what, it's easier for me to just carry on as I am. I've already built my life towards this. I've already spent my years like this. My upbringing led me to this. I might as well just remain as I am. Why should I make any change? Yeah. I'm just going to be fat. I'm going to wear my thobe. I'm going to be fat. I'm going to sit down and I'm going to talk all day. And that's it. That is it. And I'm going to be happy with that. So, Allah understand. And the reality of why people don't like action when it comes to Islam is because there's something called fighting. Fighting's become strange. Now, you know what's crazy though? They've left all the militaries and the armies all to the governments. That's crazy, isn't it? Because when the governments and everyone turns against them, what happens? They've got no one. They're going to say, what should we do? What should we do? I'll give you an example. Like the Yemenis. The Yemenis didn't really have much of an army. For example, the Salafis in Yemen, they didn't really have much of an army. And what happened? The Houthis came, started bombing them. The Yemenis went, the Houthis went to Yemen. I mean, they were already in Yemen, but they started shooting the Salafis. They had the guns, they had the bombs and everything. Salafis didn't really have much. Maybe they had like a pickup truck and they had a few guns. And they had to leave. They had to leave very quickly. They had to leave the merge very, very quickly. So that must have woken them up, I guess. That must have woken them up. That must have woken them up that you can't live in a delusional world. You live in a world where there's militaries and there's armies and there's combat. You can't just be saying, I'm going to read Kitab al-Tawheed all day and that's it. I'm just going to get bombed and then get killed and then that's it. My women are going to be taken away. They're going to be taken away from us and we're going to be killed and then that's it. We're just going to die. Well, we've got nothing to fight. We ain't got no weapons, no nothing. We're just going to take all the bullets, get bombed and just die and that's it. Apparently that's what Kitab al-Tawheed is teaching people. But Allah understands. It's crazy, isn't it? Crazy. So many people are just content with that. They're content with the militaries and the armies being away from their care and being under the care of someone else. So when that someone else is deceived, misled, and they lead that army against you, what are you going to do? It's not like you can run anyways. Like a lot of them may be fat, they can barely run, inactive, inactive. Well, not like they can run away anyways, but what are they going to do? Mutun talib al-ilm in your house is not really going to help, is it? Because there's something called universal law. There's the laws of Allah, okay, which are the laws to do with the heart, which is the laws to do with the Sharia, which if you don't follow that law, your heart is going to be killed. And then there's the universal law, which is the laws to do with your body. If you don't eat food, you are going to die. You have no say about it. Read Kitab al-Tawheed as much as you like, you're going to die. Because it's a universal law. Qada al-Kawni as they call it. You're going to die. If I come and bring my knife and I cut your head off, you can have all the Sahih al-Bukhari in your house, you're going to die. I've cut your head off. You're not going to live. It's a universal law. So there's a lot of laws, especially to do with universal laws. They teach this themselves. They may teach this themselves. And that's it. Universal law. I bring an army with a greater force than you. You have no army. You were content with whatever you were in. You were content with doing nothing. You were content with not building nothing. I was actually content with building. Now I've got this army and military against you. I'm going to defeat you. I'm going to defeat you. It's very different than you building and you only have a handful. You still have built. You still have a handful. You know? We still have a handful of people. You look at the battle of Badr, there was a handful of companions against the disbelievers, but they still had people. They still had people. Even though they didn't have much weapons and they didn't have much, they did the best with what they had. And so Allah sent countless, many angels. Many angels. So they still did something. But if you are to just sleep and not act upon nothing, and you're like, oh Allah, I'm content with doing nothing but speaking, then universal law states that they will defeat you. They will annihilate you. They will bomb you, and that's that. You know, they say, Ya Ahlul Sunnah, oh people of Sunnah, watch out. The Rafida, they're increasing in their armies and their militaries around the region. Watch out, they don't care about Palestine. They just want to kill you. But they never say, oh Ahlul Sunnah, how about we build something? They don't say that. They tell you guys, oh guys, just the Rafida, they're accumulating their men, their armies, their militaries. Ya Sheikh, can you tell me one Salafi then? Tell me one Salafi army I can sign up to. There's none. Sad times. Very sad times. Sad times. They are content with coffee and books. Those are the first ones to be enslaved. Content with coffee and books. First ones to be enslaved. If there is no hero, they will make one. That is it. But that's complex as well. This is a complex matter because someone can seem like a hero, but then he's not a hero. And you're like, you know what? No. Okay, I'm going to go to this person. Then you think that person's a hero. He's not a hero. It's like an onion. You keep peeling the onion and there's a layer to a layer to a layer to a layer. And so many people say, you know what? Forget it. I'm going to choose evil. I'm going to choose evil. There's no point. There's no people of goodness. But that's what you don't understand. You're not supposed to be good for the sake of the people. You're supposed to be good for your own sake. When you do good and you are good, you're good for yourself. Doesn't matter about the people. So you just keep peeling the onion layer. This person's fake, that person's fake. This person's fake, that person's fake. He's a manufactured hero.
majority of the people don't know ahkam pertaining to tahara and salah. Maybe we should start there. You should actually start with opening the heart of the people. That's the first thing you should start with. People can learn tahara, how to make wudu, how to clean themselves. They can learn that in one day. Okay? They can learn that in one day. They can learn how to pray the salah in a few days. But opening the heart is something that will take a very long time for the people to understand and for the people to know and comprehend. You focus on external, we focus on internal. Internal is your thought, it's your mind, it's your understanding, it's your intellect and your wisdom. Okay. So, the issue isn't that the people don't know tahara. The issue is that the minds and the hearts of the people are closed to even understanding. And that's the issue. And what use is there for you knowing your tahara when you haven't built nothing? Are you content with knowing how to clean yourself, but you cannot go beyond that whatsoever? You're content with that. Wallahu musta'an. This is the issue. The issue is the people need to be taught how to understand. They need to be taught how to know. They need to be taught how to open their hearts so they are able to understand the matters. Built as in exactly what I was speaking about in this life, if you were there in the beginning. I gave that example. You know tahara. Okay. You know tahara. You know tahara. But then the enemies will still come and finish you off. The Sahaba did have things built in Mecca during their times of weakness. The first thing they had built was what? A community. There was a community. There was understanding. Their hearts were opened. Do you understand? And the Prophet ﷺ taught them what? Firstly, he didn't teach them about Tahara firstly. He taught them about Jannah and Jahannam to open their hearts so that they understand. That's the first thing the Prophet ﷺ was talking about. He was teaching them about Tawheed. He was teaching them about Tawheed so their hearts are opened. Things were built. The community was built. They made hijrah. They made hijrah first to Abyssinia. So there was a community there. And then they expanded upon what they had built. Such that they went to Medina. Such that then they had their laws, they had the systems in place. They had the military, they had the wars, they had the finances, they had the gold, they had the silver. Things were built. Let's not say they didn't have anything built. They did. What they built was far more comprehensive than anything that is present today, whether you like it or not. So there's no point of learning Tahara, and there's no point of learning about the Salah, and then saying they didn't build anything in Mecca during that time period, when they actually did. That's why it's very dangerous to speak when you are unaware. Very dangerous statement. Do not say they didn't build. They very well built. Very, very well built. A community is very, very, very important. Community is very important. Even if there was only a handful, even though it was only Abu Bakr and Ali and the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and Khadija, and other than them were the first, that is still a community that is far more sound, far more comprehensive, far better than anything that's present in this world today. And that is building something.
and opening the hearts of the people to get closer to their Rabb, to fear their Rabb, to love their Rabb, to action, to do action, to build, yes, to build, because the Quran pushes you to build. The Quran pushes you to action. Knowledge pushes you to action. There's a reason why knowledge is Ain, Lam and Mim, and action is Ain, Mim and Lam. They are very interconnected with one another. The one who does not act upon his knowledge, then it's as if he has not benefited from that knowledge, because knowledge pushes you to action. Do you understand? Action is the building. You can use the term interchangeably if you want. Action or building. Action or building. It's the same thing. So you should listen. You should listen and try to understand. You should listen and try to understand, because this is a misconception that people have. They say, why don't you speak about how Salah is supposed to be? Why don't you? Those matters are spoken about. Those matters are spoken about. Those matters are very well spoken about. But even when those matters are well spoken about, the people still haven't built much. They still don't have action. And they still are unaware of how the world truly is. And they are content with it. So we do not downplay the importance of tahara. We know that purity is half of Iman. We know that. We know that purity is external and internal. External purity is what? Cleanliness of the body. From what? Impurities. From what? It could be from janaba. It can be from what? Other forms of impurities. That's external body. And what is the internal cleanliness? What is the internal tahara? What is that? That is at-tawheed. That is the correct aqidah. That is iman in Allah. That is the correct understanding of His names and His attributes. And seeking aid with Allah through His names and His attributes. And seeking, seeking honor and seeking strength and seeking protection from Allah. And that is that. There's the internal purity, external purity. Then there's what other forms of purity is there? Other forms of tahara, which are external to yourself, is where? The place that you pray. Is the place that you pray pure or is it impure? What is impure? If there's impure substances there, are you going to be praying on a place that has alcohol that's been dipped all over? A place where there's feces all over? So there's external purities, external purity, internal purity, tahara, different forms of tahara. We know that very clearly. Okay. Salah. Then there are the key pillars of salah. Then there are the key, then there are other matters concerning the salah. For example, at the end of the last rak'ah, before Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, what do you read? You seek protection from what? From four things, right? You seek protection from the worldly life. You seek protection from the Dajjal. You seek protection from the adab of the qabr. And you seek protection from the adab of Jahannam. You seek protection from four things. Four things. You read Fatiha in every single salah. You straighten your back. You straighten your back when you are in ruku'. And then you do raf' al-yadayn 4 times. If it's the first rak'ah, is the beginning, you do raf' al-yadayn. And then when you come up from ruku', you do raf' al-yadayn. And then when you go into the third rak'ah, after the second rak'ah, when you're sitting down, you're doing tashahud, you go back up and then you do raf' al-yadayn again. So there's raf' al-yadayn, which is very important in the salah. And then there's the salah, which is the external and the internal. What is the external? The external is facing the qibla. The external is keeping whatever distraction away. Some people have prayer mats that have all these random things, all these random designs that are a distraction to them. So that is the external. You clarify the external, you purify the external. Any distractions you have, you keep away from your place of prayer. That is all to do with the external. You face the Qibla, you're directed towards the Qibla. And then the external is that what? You have to do the ruku' properly. You have to do the sujood properly. You have to have your hands when you're in sujood, not down like the dog. That is the external. But what is the most important thing in the salah? It's the internal. What is the internal? Just like how you turn away from every direction and you face the Qibla, you turn your heart away from every direction, every distraction, and you turn it towards your Rabb. That is it. And you have to understand and take your actions to learn what you're reading, because people speak and they don't know what they say. People know what they say, but they don't understand what they say. There's different levels to that. So that's the internal aspect of the salah. What is it? That, oh Allah, I have turned away from everything and I am facing you only. My heart is not thinking about my wife, or my children, or my neighbors, or my people, or my community, or the world, or the money, or the financial market, or anything whatsoever. I'm not thinking of anything. That is the internal aspect. And you're seeking a reward, and you are getting closer to your Rabb. And what you will understand and what you experience is that there's going to be a breeze that goes to your heart. There's going to be a coolness that you're going to experience within your nafs. There's going to be a rest that's going to be within you when you pray your salah. That's why the Prophet ﷺ, when he would tell Bilal to make the adhan, he would say, Arihna, like, let us find comfort, bring us the comfort. Arihna, O Bilal, because there is a comfort in it. And the Prophet ﷺ, in the heat of the deserts, they would find coolness in the salah. Why? Because there is a coolness. There is a coolness. There is the breeze that you will experience within yourself. There is a coolness. It will cool you down. It will cool you down. It is a comfort. Yes. That's it. You don't move after the Imam. You are not the Imam. What is an Imam? The Imam is the one who leads, okay? The one who leads. If you're not an Imam, you move after the Imam does. He goes into ruku' first, and then you go into ruku'. He goes into sujood first, and then you go into sujood. He says Ameen first, and then you say Ameen. But if you go to the masjid and the people say, he finishes Fatiha, everyone's going to say Ameen, and then he says Ameen. Since when were you the Imam? Or when were the people the Imam? But people don't know that. They don't know that. That's the salah. And the salah is what your entire day is built upon. You look at your 24 hours, it's around that time. And then we can speak about the salah, we can speak about tahara, but the issue is there's a lot of things going on. And make dua that Allah allows us. Tablighi Masjid, I stopped going there, and they would recite Fatiha in like 15 seconds. Make dua that Allah allows us to build, and that Allah allows us to be sincere, because building with no sincerity is like building a home with no foundation. It's going to come crumbling down. And make dua that Allah allows us to build with no riya involved, without seeking sum'ah, without seeking names, without seeking anything from the people. Make dua that Allah allows us to build. Make dua that Allah allows us to wake up and to protect us from the evil plots of the disbelievers. And their plots will never harm us except if Allah allows it. Never will it harm us. This is what people don't seem to understand, that Allah is the only one that can truly harm, and Allah is the only one that can truly benefit. And you need to understand, you as a person, you can never truly benefit, you can never truly harm. I'll give you an example. The Prophet ﷺ, he would advise his uncle and call him to Islam. Call him to Islam. And the Prophet, he had this love, the familiar love to do with family for his uncle. And he would call him to Islam and call him to Islam. But guess what? His uncle did not accept Islam. And his uncle died as a disbeliever. And Allah informed the Prophet that you do not guide who you love, but indeed it is Allah who guides whomsoever He wills. You having any sort of familiar love for that person, care for that person, connection to that person, doesn't mean you can benefit that person. So Allah is the one who truly benefits, and Allah is the one who truly harms. You can't benefit, you can't harm. You are weak, I am weak. So always remind yourself of that. Any harm that comes away, it is a matter decreed long before you even were in this worldly life. It's been decreed. So take it on the chin, be patient, seek a reward, move forward, move on with your life. Someone punched me. Okay, are you going to be thinking about this for the next 5 years? A lot of people will, because they're so mentally weak. They're so mentally weak because nothing goes on in their life, that the only thing that went on in their life is them getting punched and hit. And so then they start to think about this, and they start to obsess over this, and then they start to get anxiety over this, and then they start to get scared over everything over this, and now they can't even touch a little spider because they think the spider is going to punch them in the face. That's the reality. They cannot think. That's why. But the real person, they're not going to be thinking about this for 5 years. Someone punched me, okay, and people have been slaughtered. People have been slaughtered, and you're crying because you've been punched. You've had it easy than a lot of people have. People get dragged on the streets. I've seen videos where a guy gets run over by a tank, and he's literally like a piece of paper. He's so thin because the tank crushes the entire bones, and he's dead. The skull pops. When the tank is going over his body, the skull pops. Because it's made out of bones, and it just turns into dust, and then the tank goes over him, and he's paper thin. The bones have been turned to, it's almost like a wallpaper now. You could almost staple him onto the wall now, and you're crying because someone hit you. So guidance is not written for everyone. For some people, they have misguidance that's written for them. No matter what you do, Allah will never guide them. And that's why you shouldn't be too concerned over the people and obsess over the people. That's why Allah says, do not be sad concerning what they say. Don't be sad. Don't be sad. This is another matter concerning with the people, but hopefully you benefit to the best of your ability, and you do good out of sight, out of mind. This is anonymity, the benefits of anonymity, especially for the women. Best thing for the women is anonymity. Keeping anonymous is the best thing. You don't need to write your name on social media. You don't need to show your face on social media. Social media is not a place you want to show your face, and it's not a place you want to show your name. It's not a place. It's not. That's the reality. Especially as a woman, it's a battlefield. Social media is a battlefield, whether you like it or not. Because guess what? People insult Allah and disobey Allah daily, every single hour on social media, whether you like it or not. So don't feel comfortable like it's your house, showing your own name and then your own pictures, and you're all comfortable. It's not your house, but many of them see it as their house because it's normalization. Remember what I said? Normalization. Oh, everyone's doing it, so I might as well do it as well. And what they don't understand is the way you are on social media exposes you as a person. Allah is my witness. I may have never met you. If I can see you on your social media and read you on your social media, I will know you without having ever met you. Very simple. My name is this. I'm from here. Like people, they have their location. I'm from London. Okay, I know you're from London, and then I know your name. And then just from the title, you can tell what they're about. And maybe they'll have an image of a teddy bear or something. If you've got an image of a teddy bear, do you know what that shows? That shows, number one, that you like teddy bears. Number one. Number two, we move on. Who likes teddy bears? Is it adults that like teddy bears? Like, I've never ever seen my mum ever have a teddy bear, ever in her entire life. I've never, in my entire life of growing up, since I was 5, 4, 3 years old, I've never once in my entire life ever saw my mum with a teddy bear. Okay? Even though my mum used to play with dolls when she was young, that is when she was young, but I've never, ever, 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 ever seen her with a teddy bear. So what I understand is that you still have the childish mentality within you, and you have this sort of innocence within you, and you're showing to the world this by that image. You're showing to the world, guys, I like teddy bears, I'm innocent, that is it. Okay, the wolves will love that. They love it. They love knowing people are, they have this childish, oh, do you like teddy bears? I like teddy bears too, really. I like anime. Do you like anime? You like anime? Oh, look at that. Connection, guys. You get me? Connection. We're connecting already. Compatibility leads to something else. What does it lead to? You know what it leads to. So it's a form of weakness, and you're on a battlefield. You're on a battlefield, guys. You don't seem to understand. What you say and what you do exposes you. If I know you just from your social media account, I'm sure so many other people will know you just from your social media account. Like the brother here, where's the brother gone? The brother Ibrahim from California. I know how he's like. I've never met the brother. I've never been to America in my entire life. I know how he's like just from the words. I see the words that he chooses. I see the way he writes his sentences. I see the sentences that he is sending. I see the way he interacts. I know the brother without having ever met him. And it's the same for the brother Samir and the brothers that speak. And there's a brother here who's called Farhan, who's also from America. The brother, I've never met him, but he never sends any messages in the chat. But I know he never sends any messages in the chat, because he doesn't send any message, and he doesn't need to send any message in the chat, because that's how he is as a person. He doesn't send any comments. He's from America. His name is Farhan. He's probably listening. The only time he will comment is at the end, when he will say Jazakallah khairan, bro, because that's it. He's working. He works. I know he works. I know he's got his aims and his objectives that he's trying to achieve. I know he's silent. He just likes to listen, and then he tries to take his benefit, and then he goes. I know that. But the brother hasn't even messaged here, but he's probably laughing maybe because he knows that I know. I pay attention. Not because I really go into the depths and I really want to know everything about everything. No, I just see it. Just based on how the brothers are like. There's the other brother in California as well. I think the brother's listening. Let me see if he's in the live. Okay, he's not here. But that's just how they are. You can tell people just by how they talk. And if I know you just based on how you talk, it means I know other things about you. And if I know other things about you, it means I know your strengths and your weaknesses. If I know your weaknesses, then that means I could somewhat use your weaknesses against you. Like brother Samir, I've probably never ever met in my life. But I can somewhat say, or I can somewhat tell, that the brother Samir, okay, he's had many companions and many friends that grew up in the West, grew up in the UK, and they had the typical upbringing in the UK, going to the shops after school, riding the bikes around the school, typical upbringing, typical friends. And some of those friends started to divert away, and they started to go to the wrong path because it's normal at that age. It's normal in that society. It's normal to want to be like those cool kids. You know, you want to be those cool kids, the draws, the music, whatever it is, the girls, whatever it is. And then the brother Samir was on social media, and he started to find many people speaking about many things. And he started to take benefit from that, which is a benefit of social media. This is why social media is somewhat good. It's a good tool The brother benefited from social media accounts. He met some brothers on social media. He started to understand the religion. Has the live paused? What's the last thing that you heard me say? Because I was speaking about Brother Samir. Okay, so Brother Samir, as I said, grew up in the West. The typical, I mean, I could speak about the school days. I could speak about the school days, because I know my school days is going to be very similar to the school days of Brother Samir. He's from the UK, I'm from the UK. Very similar upbringing, the same mindsets, same people trying to be cool. The friends are trying to be cool. It's about the girls, it's about the music, it's about making money. And that is the companions that were around Brother Samir, and Brother Samir came onto social media, and then he started to see things on social media. He started to see brothers on social media. He started to speak to certain people on social media. His heart started to open to certain things concerning the life. And this is one of the benefits of social media. One of the benefits of social media is what? That you can actually see a world out there that's very different from your own world. And the brother benefited from that world, and his companions were somewhat, he finds there's a clash, because now Brother Samir has been exposed to a world that very different, that his friends may have never been exposed to. So he has a form of understanding and a vision of the world now that his friends may never have. So he's trying to share this with his brothers, he's trying to share this with his friends, and they may clash, because the vision that the friends have is something that is normalized for them, which was what? Music, bicycles, bike ridings. You know, you go to school with your bike, you go to shops after school and all of that. It's all normalized. All of it is just normalized. And it's a clash now. It's a clash of worlds. Are they going to accept what Samir says? Are they not going to accept what Samir says? It's a clash of life. It's a clash of world. And he may lose some of his high school friends because his entire vision of life is very different. Very different. And what does that show? That shows that social media is actually a tool of benefit. What does that show? That life is far greater, it's far more comprehensive, it's far more deeper than what we knew as kids and what we knew growing up and what we were shown in school and what we were shown by our surroundings and our so-called friends. And so Brother Samir will start to think more, he will start to understand more, he will start to see life a lot more comprehensive. And what he may not know is that whilst he is progressing every single day internally, his friends may never ever reach that level. His friends may never ever reach that level. Because there is a level of understanding when your mind is so comprehensive and your mind is so open and you're aware of people's behaviors and you're aware of these plots and agendas and you're aware of the systems around you and you're aware of the hereafter in your religion and you're aware of your own self and your own weaknesses and your own strengths and you're aware of so many different factors all put together, and you constantly learn and better yourself every single time. You may go back to your friends in 10-15 years time and you will realize that they are somewhat the same. But you will look at yourself just 5-6 months and you are completely different. Completely different. Like you look back to yourself in 6 months and you say, that was cringy. How could I have ever said that? That was weird. The moment you start thinking like that, the moment that is when you actually start to progress and you actually are bettering yourself. You look back, you say, what? 6 months ago I actually said this. That's why sometimes I look back to the stories I made 1 year and I'm like, what? That was weird. That was weird, that was strange. So that's Brother Samir. And that's many people, many people, you can tell them just by their social media presence. And the brother, I can tell he has a lot of love for the religion and for the olden days, even though it may be very hard to find, especially in the UK. But it's good mindset to have. It's a very good mindset to have. So may Allah increase you in goodness, and everyone else as well. But I'm just showing you how you can be read based on your social media. You can be read based on your social media. And the stories that you write as well are very beneficial. They are very, very beneficial. It's different though. It's very different. It's very... I think I messaged once and I said, did you write that? I think I said, did you write that? Because it was very complex and I liked reading it. And I was like, you know what? That was a very, very good read. That was a very, very good read. Then at other times, you may be just speaking normal. And then other times, it's very complex. Which shows you've got great ability. Great ability. And I'm sure that's for every single brother here. I'm sure every brother here is very smart. It's very wise thinking. Very forward thinking. My biggest fear, years have passed and you're still the same. Very forward thinking. Very smart, ambitious people. And I hope we can use that smartness and ambition and forward thinkingness to be of benefit, because there's no point. A-level literature. I knew it. A-level literature. I knew there was something. But I didn't know it was A-level literature. But it makes sense. And it makes sense. So A-level is like in the UK, there's schools, the school system. A-level is right before university. So I'm sure you were probably doing, anthropology, poetry, English poetry, Shakespearean, going through Hamlets and Macbeth. Oh, those were annoying times, man. I never paid attention to school. I think that's one of the blessings, I think, was that I never paid Kite Runner. What's that? Khalid Hussein, if that's his name, if I'm not mistaken. So Khalid Hussein, I'm sure he was Afghani, if I'm not wrong. Probably said the whole name wrong. But yeah, I think I'm just grateful I never paid attention to school, man. Never. Like, it's crazy. Because in the UK, we've got something called Parents' Evening. And when I was in my primary school, from year 1 to year 2, I would have Parents' Evening, year 3, year 2, year 3, year 4. And I've never, in my entire life, ever had a good Parents' Evening. In year 2, I got kicked out of school because I was fighting in year 2, I remember. So what happened was, I was with a group of school friends in year 2, and I just said, let's go beat up my brother. And my brother was like 3-4 years older than me then. And so what we did is we just ganged up together and we just went and we just fought my brother. And I didn't think that far, because I realized at the end that after we beat him, I was going to go home and I was going to be alone, and then I was going to get beaten up. So, and then the school got involved somehow and they just kicked me out of school. Yeah, going home that day was weird because I had to go home with him as well, and my mum would pick us up. So my whole school years, year 2, year 3, year 4, every single Parents' Evening would be a dread, because every single teacher would say the same things. doesn't pay attention, he's a class clown, he doesn't do his work, whatever, he distracts everyone. I've never met a student like him ever again. I've never met a student like him ever before. It's crazy. And it was like that throughout my entire school life. And I think that is what has allowed me not to have been so entrapped in the school system. I was always in a world of my own. Always in a world of my own. Because it was just boring. Every time it was boring. So because it was so boring, I just said, you know what, how should I make it more fun and lively? And I would just make jokes out of the most random things. Because I used to think so much, I'd make a joke about the most random, like the teacher's talking about a random topic in biology, and I'd just make a random joke about it. Like I gave no value, no worth to school whatsoever, and it hasn't affected my life in the least. Crazy. That's very true. So I think I'm very grateful for that. I'm very, very grateful, man. Like I used to see school as a playground. I'm not even joking, man. I used to see it as a playground. Like I'd light bins on fire in class. I lit a whole bonfire in class because it was just so boring. Like I'm there in physics and they're just talking about physics. So I'm like, you know what? The teacher leaves and I'm like, how about I put this physics into action? And then I just light a big bonfire in the class and there's smoke and everyone's coughing. And the teacher comes in and he acts like nothing's happened because he knows it was me again. Just throw snowballs at the teacher's head, knock down ginger. I'm sure many people in the UK would know what that is. You just kick down the classroom doors and you just run as if there weren't security cameras that were capturing all of us. But that's just how I used to view school, man. Just play. And what annoyed the teacher so much was I used to get very high marks in all my exams. I don't know if I've failed that much in life, in school life, and that's what angered them because I wouldn't pay attention. I'd spend so much time outside the classroom, and when exam time would come, I'd pass it. And they would get angry at that. Like I remember I had teachers in school, they were like, oh, you're going to fail your GCSE. You're going to come to me one day and you're going to fail my GCSE. And what was funny is as soon as I passed the GCSEs, I went to them and I said, look, I passed. Just to anger them even more. Like it was just angering them even more. Because that's the reality of school. Like school says you need 10 years to learn this subject. You don't need 10 years to learn the subject. Who said that? You don't need 10 years. Like I've done an apprenticeship as well recently, and the apprenticeship they said it's gonna be 18 months to do this. I was like, what, you're joking? I'm not spending 18 months on this. It literally takes 6 months to do this. How are you telling me 18 months? I don't need 18 months. And then you just finish it in a few months and that's it. People telling you got 18 months to do it. No, it's because they don't know the time limit. What they do is they just jumble you up with everyone else. Some people have got learning difficulties. Some people are disabled. Some people just don't know how to learn. Some people just can't be asked knowing anything. And so what they do is they take their time frame of how long it takes to learn, and then they just jumble everyone up and they say, yeah, that's why school system wasn't made for the people in reality. Different people have different learning methods, number one. Number two, different people learn at different levels than everyone else. You can't be so slow and this person is going to learn very quick. He's going to be bored. That's why I was bored. It's just so slow and this and this and this and this. Because of course they need to stretch this whole thing out for like so long. And that's the whole issue with school. If you're going to be homeschooling, you need to first understand what is the best learning method for that child of yours. Do they learn visually? Do they learn verbally? Do they learn physically? Are they a mix of everything? How do they learn best? That's number one. Number two is, what is the pace of their learning? How quick do they learn things? If they learn things quick, you need to be very quick as well. Or else they're going to surpass you and they're going to be like, listen, respectfully, you can't teach. So you need to understand that. That's homeschooling, which we need to speak about as well. And we need to talk about homeschooling. That's another big topic. But that's that for today, inshallah. You got kids who grow up ending up in jail. Look, it's a cycle that repeats itself. It's a cycle. Like, people stab other people over £2. People stab people for £2. It's a cycle. It's all to do with respect. It's all to do with power. And that's what these people think power is. They think power is being a part of a group and showing them that you can stab someone, that you can do this, you can do that. They think that's what power is. They don't even understand that there's levels to power. There is extreme levels to power. Okay? Extreme levels to power. And their power is so delusional that they have these police officers that come knocking in their houses, put them in jail, and then they're in a cell. So what power do they truly have? Now they're in a cell for 28 years, 29 years, 30 years, they're going to be in a cell, and they will think about it for the rest of their weeks and days and nights and mornings. Man, I'm going to be in here for the next 30 years. Yeah, you are. What happened to all the power? Zapped away. Brought back down to earth. You are cloud 9 with all those weed that you were smoking. You have now been brought back down to earth. Yes, in that cold cell, that stinky cell. And so what do they do in prison? They will smoke more in prison. What else will they do in prison? They will, they will keep trying to make songs. Why are you trying to make songs? You're not coming out of prison. The reason why they will make songs in prison is to distract themselves. The life is going to carry on in here. What life? You ain't got no life, man. But that's the reality, man. This is the same example like the Japanese. If you look at the Japanese, they used to be soldiers, they used to be warriors, they used to have an iron mindset. They used to be very, very, they thought they were on top of the world. They thought they were on cloud 9. They thought they were on cloud 9. They thought they could take over the entire world. America came, dropped one atomic bomb in Hiroshima and Nagasaki, and then since then till today, I don't think I know anyone that's more silent, more quiet, more so-called humbled than the Japanese people. Like, they're finished now. It took them about 50 to 70 years to completely finish an entire nation that used to be strong for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years. All of that was finished. Their females are finished. Their males are finished. They're just finished. The elderly are now quiet. They're, we live in 90 years, and they're just quiet. Finished. America came and finished. I don't know how many years of history these people had. Annihilated, finished, gone. Forget about samurais and all of that. All of those are cartoons now. The entire hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years of history has been pushed into some little cartoon. That's it. And that's the thing, these people don't understand. There's a level to power. There's levels to power. وَفَوْقَ كُلِّ ذِي عِلْمٍ عَلِيمٍ. Above everyone who has knowledge, there's someone who has more knowledge than him. So humble yourself. But these people in the streets, they won't understand that. That's why they get humbled when they're in there for 30 years. Because in 30 years, they're going to have to deal with, firstly, they killed someone. Secondly, they can't look after their family. Thirdly, they're going to miss out on all the opportunities that comes in life. And he's just going to have to think about that. And he can't think already because You get me? Before he was in prison, he wasn't thinking. He was off his head. I mean, the prison system itself is corrupt anyways. Where did they get this system from? It's corrupt anyways. Someone kills someone and they say we're going to put you in prison for a few years. Really? They don't even give the option to the family. They give the option to some random jury. Jury that is not related. They're not related to anyone whatsoever. They're not related to anyone in the family. They couldn't care less. The judge says, oh, we're going to sentence him 10 years to prison. 10 years. 10 years. He has to pay blood money. Well, that's it. Someone needs to get, a marksman skills. They need to get their marksman skills. Like that. They need to get marksman skills and that's it, finished. Yeah, 5 years, good behavior. You probably go out 3 years. That's it. That is it. And then they say, what do they say? They say the prisons are too full in the UK. That those that served 40% or 50% of their time are going to be let out of prison. Interesting times, isn't it? What better way to increase chaos and violence than to let the people out? Now you know why these prison sentence and systems are created in a way, because it's all used as a tool, not for the betterment of the people, but used to further plots and agendas against the people. People have no say. I mean, look, and he's gassed. He's gonna be He's gonna be out soon. Yes, you know it. They come out with their tracksuits, and they come out, and then people come with alcohol, and they start screaming, and celebrating. And he brings out his little black bags of clothes, and he says, "Oh, I'm out." Everyone's there saying, "Free him, free him, free him, free him." It's like it's one big circus, and there's so many performances going on. There's so many dances. There's so many performances going on. They're all one big circus. That's what they are. They say, "Free him, free him, free my guy, free my guy. He's gonna be free soon." And then he comes out of prison, and they all go crazy. No. And he's there getting happy. Ooh. Look, people came for me. Ooh. Next thing you know, he's back in prison again. It's crazy, man. Crazy, man. Free my bro, yeah, that's it. Like, come on. He's a criminal, he's a fasiq, he's a mujrim, yeah? He's a criminal, and they say, "Free my brother." What do you mean, free my brother? Your brother should be paying blood money, or he should be getting executed, and you're saying, "Free my brother." La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. The riots against Muslims in the UK are... It started off light. It started off with a few people. And then, of course, the police and the government instigate it even more. And then it increases and it increases. But hopefully every brother here is good. Hopefully the brothers are good. I'm doing very well. It's more to do with rural areas where the population is majority English, minority non-English. There are some places where it's like maybe 50-50, 75-25, and it's been instigated. The flames are getting bigger. Remember, it has to get bigger. It's going to get worse because that's the plot and that's the agenda. It needs to get so severe and so worse where the police state can be enforced or draconian laws can be enforced. Remember, it can't be something petty. 9/11 was something big. Around 3,000, I don't know how many people, thousands of people died. 7/7 bombing, there was quite a few people that died. The law in the UK, when they stopped banning guns, there was many people that died. Like maybe I think 12, 13 people were killed. So it's going to have to get a lot worse for them to justify their laws, because, come on, they're not going to do it because one building was burnt. They're not going to do it because one building was burnt. So it's going to intensify. There are, of course, a lot of Muslims that are unaware and emotional. And because they're unemotional, they fall right into the trap. And so then they go and just fight. And they just want to do the same, behave exactly the same. And the whole point is for the community, the Muslims in the community and the disbelievers to fight one another. That's the whole point. It's the same like Ukraine and Russia, to fight one another. But there's always one group of people that are behind it. There's one group of people that are behind it, and they don't seem to be. Number one, they don't seem to be emotional. Number two, they don't seem to be protesting or rioting. I wonder what group of people they are. I wonder. But that's the case. That's the case. So it's advised for people to just stay in their houses. It's advised for the people to stay in their houses and to make their adhkar, to keep to themselves, to firstly understand where they live. Like, people don't even understand where they live. It's crazy. Go print out a map of where you live and go and actually understand where you live. Like, it's crazy. There's not only one route around your area. There's many routes around your area. You should know that. People say, I know where I live. They actually don't know where they live. Because if I looked where you lived and I would then look at the map, and then I would probably come to your place in another place that you don't know of. That shouldn't be the case. There should be other places that you're aware of that other people don't commonly take. There should be routes that you should be aware of that other people don't take. Go and print a map out of your area. Go and walk. Go and walk. Walk around the places so you're aware. But people can't. They're not. But like, they're on their phones and they're looking down. They don't even know the buildings. They don't know what's up. They don't even know what's around. So you need to be aware of your locations, your building, your areas. You need to be very, very aware. It's common sense, but apparently it's not. So that's that. The Muslims are getting emotional, then they're going to start fighting, and then these people are going to get emotional. And then the Prime Minister is so hilarious. The Prime Minister is so hilarious. He knows exactly what he's doing. He's instigated even worse. He's like, I'm going to look after you Muslims. He ain't looking after no Muslims. What Muslims is he looking after? And it is funny. It is funny because if you listen to his speeches, you know what he says? Where this is our country. So he basically segregates all like the English people. He segregates the English people. He segregates those nationalists. He pushes them away and he says our country, as if they are not involved in the country whatsoever. And they aren't. That's why I laugh. You're crying because of Muslims when your entire system and your entire nation and your entire country is not even yours anymore. It has been taken away from you since the 1600s. And you're crying and they're coming to, immigrants are coming to our land. What land are you talking about? You have no land. You have no right to that land. You don't own no land. You don't own no money. You are owned already. And you're crying about immigration. That is the funniest thing. But they're not really the smartest bunch of people. That's the reality. They're not the smartest. They're not the brightest. They're not the, soundest of thoughts. Which is funny. When he says our country, do you know what he means? It means the United Kingdom is going through a transformation stage. And later on, many years down the line, it's not going to be called United Kingdom anymore. These countries are going to start to change their names. And children are going to grow up and they're going to see the country to be a new name, a new land. And that's what's going to happen. There's going to be this alliance with these European nations. And then there's going to be these big wars and they're going to start to change the names of these countries. And you thought, this was called... Remember, first it was called Great Britain. Then they removed the aspect of great. They just call it Britain. Then they call it United Kingdom. Then they're going to call it something else. It's going to be something else and then something else and then something else. And they're crying. They're crying and they're saying, guys, guys, they're taking over our country. Your country was taken by certain merchants that came in the 1700s. Don't be crying. Don't be crying. Your prime minister is working for who? They're working for the Fabian Society, and the Fabian Society is not working for you. That's the reality. That's the reality. Socialist, most of the people in that party, a large majority of those people are socialist. Socialists aren't coming to look after you, mate. They couldn't care less one bit about you. Because socialism is a disease that spreads around different nations. They don't see themselves to be one country. Socialism is not just in the UK. It's in France, it's in Spain, it's in Italy, it's in the UK. I mean, Spain is becoming a lot more socialist not right now as well. It's crazy how all these socialists have been taking power all over the world. It's almost as if they're telling us that the new world order is going to be a socialist one. The Protestants and the Catholics coming together. That's how you know they don't even understand their religion. They turned away from their religion because they've always been fighting. Why have they always been fighting? They've always been fighting because they've always differed in their religion. But now, because the people have turned away from their religion, they don't really care much. Like Protestants today are not the same as they were hundreds of years ago, so they don't care. Catholics today, I mean, the Pope is looking after LGBT people. They couldn't really care less about Catholic or Catholicism anymore in reality. What you have is just this merger of, you know what, forget about religion, let's just think about community. We're from the same community, we're the same people, let's just unite. That is it. They're not uniting because they actually are Protestants and Catholics. They're uniting because they've turned away from everything that they were once upon, and they're crying about immigration, which is very ironic. Very ironic. You know why I say it's ironic though, and why I laugh at this? The reason why I laugh at this is because kill every single Muslim, kill every single immigrant. Guess what? The same people that are in charge have married into your people, and they had families that then had families with your people, that then had families within your people. They look like you, they sound like you, they talk like you, they are your leaders. And guess what? You'd still be upon the same way. That's what they don't understand. Like, when you protest and you want to kill people and you want to get rid of all the immigrants, guess what? The system is still the same. Like, you're still going to be paying taxes that are almost 50%, 60, 70% if you include VAT on everything that you purchase. If you include the 25, 45, 30% taxes, if you include all the other taxes from all the other things that are involved, inheritance tax and capital gains tax and this tax and that tax, you're still going to be paying all those taxes. It's crazy, isn't it? Crazy. That's why they say the biggest purchase you will ever make in your life is not a property. The biggest purchase you will ever make is not a house or a car. The biggest purchase you will ever make in your life is tax, because around 50% of whatever you make throughout your entire life is going to be taxed. Crazy, isn't it? Crazy. And what they don't understand is there's an agenda to increase the Hindu population in the UK, because then again, this is the second battle. People don't see this occurring. They don't see this happening. In the UK, they think it's only the Christians against the Muslims. Wait until it's going to be the Hindus against the Muslims. The Muslims don't even know what's happening. They don't even know what's prepared for them. Do you not understand why there's an influx of Hindus that are being brought into the United Kingdom? Because there's going to be more chaos that's needed, more religious fighting that's needed. So you're going to find these Hindu people coming out and fighting. There's going to be these Hindu people that are going to be trying to fight the Muslims, maybe attack them, maybe cause a lot of chaos, riots in the shops. It's not just Christians and Muslims, guys. It's Hindus and Muslims, and Muslims and Muslims, and Muslims and this, and Muslims and that, and do you understand? Yes. People need to understand, in the world today, the Hindus are being militarized and they're being made to love not only their Hinduism, but to love their hatred for the Muslims. They're being made to love their attacking of the Muslims. They're being made to love the insulting of the Muslims. That's what you need to understand. It's bubbling up, and it has been bubbling up for the past 20, 30, 40 something years. It's been bubbling up. And you have a whole generation of people that are hating the Muslims. And guess what? They have a large population. They will ship them around in strategic places. Strategic places. Yes, the Jews do have a lot from Hinduism. I mean, they both sanctify the cow. That's the reality. They love each other, in truth. Because Hinduism has so much evil within it. There's so much sihr, there's so much jinn interactions, there's so much corruption, there's so much. You see, Hinduism is very old. It's very, very old. It's very, very, very old. But this is an issue. The Christians aren't an issue, because the Christians aren't, they don't have a standing in the UK in reality. They don't have a standing. They don't have militaries. They don't. The UK military is under the wing of the government. It's not under the wing of the people. So those people are nothing. They just loot a few shops, burn a few shops, get angry about a few things. At the end of the day, what's going to happen? The Hindus are the ones that are going to be much more influential than these Christians. And they're crying about Muslims, yeah? They don't even know what's happening to their countries, man. They actually don't. Because the same people that went to colonize India and kill millions of Indians are the same people that are now shipping thousands and thousands and hundreds of thousands of Hindus from that India back into the UK. And these people have a great hatred for the United Kingdom, because they're taught, when they go back to India, they're taught the UK starved millions of Indians. The UK did this. They have thousands of people that hate the English. They hate them. They hate them for what they did. Okay, so they're bringing all these people into the UK, and it's like a funny movie. Because in the beginning of the movie, they moved the Brits into the UK with the East Indian Company, the East Indian Company, and they were fighting many battles in India, starving millions of people in India, causing a lot of corruption in India. And now, near the end of the movie now, they've now brought the same Indians into the UK. It's not funny, is that not ironic? It's not hilarious. And they do it with many other places that they've colonized. They're like, okay, you've colonized these nations. As a punishment for your colonization, we're now going to bring all these people here. And it's your fault. Crazy, man. It's crazy. That's why the Baralvis and the Ubandis are involved in sihr, because they still have elements. Of course they do. They do. In their aqidah, they have very similar things with Hinduism. In their culture, they have many similar things with Hinduism. In their characteristics and their behavior, they have many aspects of Hinduism. Why do you think Sufis tend to hate women? Or they tend to attack women a lot? Or they're known for attacking women? Or they get very sad when they have children? Why? Where did this come from? Where does it come from? Because Hinduism is very similar as well. They look down upon women. They are very sad when they have daughters. And then it goes all the way back. The mushrikeen at the time of the Prophet, when they would bury their daughters alive, and whenever they would get the news of having a daughter, their faces would become grim and it would become sad. Same carrying on today. Yeah? So they're very, very similar. They are very, very similar. Then you have those that call themselves Ahl al-Hadith. What are they called again? جمعية أهل الحديث. جمعية. Oh, جمعية أهل الحديث. And then you find then they bring Hindus in there. They bring Hindus in their conferences. Crazy, isn't it? Imagine Sanawallah Amritsari alive today. And he goes to one of these conferences of the Jam'iyyat Ahl Hadith, yeah? And he sees they bring this Hindu guy that's wearing this red-orange clothing. Crazy, crazy. And they say this is Ahl Hadith. Crazy. This ain't Ahl Hadith. This is not even Islam. Talking about Ahl Hadith, it's not even Islam. They're uniting with Hindus. And then they bring the Rafida. And they bring one of these people. I'm like, what? Is this United Nations sponsored now? That's what I need to find out. I need to find out if there's some backing of the United Nations. And there probably is. Which is a refutation against Zulfiqar, I remember. Because Zulfiqar, he says, oh, the Salafis used by a term, and there's so many evil people that call themselves Salafis. As for Ahl Hadith, it's the only title that's been preserved. Jam'iyyat Ahl Hadith, what are they? What are they? Are they not deviants? Are they not far, far away from the sound path? When they're uniting with the Rafida, the Shi'is, they're uniting with Sufis and Hindus. What happened to Ahl Hadith? What happened to the term Ahl Hadith being used by people? Come on, you really thought you hit the... he thought he hit the ball there. He thought that was knowledge. He thought, man, you know what? I realized no one actually uses Ahl Hadith, so that might actually mean something. No. Just no. So, yeah, people use terms Ahl Hadith, but they turn away from the way of the Ahl Hadith. Allah understand. So that's that for today, guys. Inshallah, I'll make a group chat, and I'll try to figure out how to make a group chat that is of benefit, and try filter out, and try add certain people in, and hopefully add more people later on. And the point of the group chat, inshallah, is to benefit the people, and for the people to actually do something in that group chat and spend their time by sharing their benefits that they learn, and by influencing others in goodness. And that's the whole point. That's the purpose. Because we all have time, we all know how to spend our time, hopefully in goodness, but you need to share that with others so that others can benefit. You may be good at economy, someone else is not, so you can share your benefit that someone else doesn't. You may be good at this certain thing that others are not, so you share, and hopefully everyone is going to be able to share their benefits. Hopefully everyone is going to be able to share their benefits, and that's the purpose. And hopefully we'll be able to build something together, inshallah, and that is the purpose. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.